that time of the week again, bitch. Welcome back to another saucy episode of Old School, New School Comedy Podcast. And I am your host, Christy Miller. And with me in the studio this week is a very dear friend of mine. I know I say that every week, so fuck you people. But he really is a dear friend of mine. And I've known him since I've moved here pretty much. And done a lot of shows together. And he's super funny. And he's also a co-owner of the Laughingstock Comedy Club in Pennsylvania, which I got to headline on Valentine's Day weekend, which was a blast. And you could have seen him on The Irishman. He's also the co-host of Who's Your Band podcast. And I love... I just blinked the last credit. It's a Sirius XM. There was
Sirius XM 101.5 FM on Wednesdays.
Thank you. That was the 105.
Okay.
I was thinking, I'm retarded.
Of course, oh my.
But ladies and gentlemen, I give you the very funny Jeffrey Paul.
What a great introduction. Thank you, Christy Miller. And by the way, that weekend, that Valentine's Day weekend show, the room was packed. There was a lot of energy. Oh God! And it was a really good vibe. And then Chrissy goes up, and I mean, just like King Kong. It was not the most flattering thing to say about a woman, but still.
No, it's fine. You can say it about
ripping down the wall. I mean, just Here's the thing I always remember about Chrissy, okay? Is I used to always seem to be hosting remember I used to host the 11 o'clock shows on Sunday at Broadway.
Oh, I love
and
those
Chris, nights. It was great. It was really great. There was a great group of comics that would work it. Yeah. And you always closed.
Yes.
And
Martin made me the closer.
Now, if you don't know comedy, and even if you do, comics that may be watching this, that was a tough spot to do because the show would have ebbs and flows. You'd have pro comics doing 10 minutes. You'd have newbies doing about 5. So it would go like this. And by the time you got to the last comic, okay, I mean, the crowd could be a little bit burnt out. I mean, it's already about 1 o'clock in the morning. Chrissy would go up like she's playing 25,000 seats in Madison Square Garden, jumping around. I'm sucking young dick. Like Motley Crue. It was, and just fucking killing, just killing. And that's the energy you brought to Pennsylvania.
Yes, and I absolutely love your club.
Thank you.
If you're in Pennsylvania, you have to go check out the shows every weekend at Laughingstock Comedy Club.
We try. Because
Jeffrey Paul and Rich Carucci put on a hell of a show. They book some killer fucking acts, and it's just, it's electric. And I can't wait to go back. And so, but you guys, if you're in the area, check them out. It's amazing. So, and you're hilarious anyway. You fucking murdered that night. He did a half hour before I went up. I'm like, this motherfucker. Now I gotta work. But it was so fun. Oh my God.
See, that's the one thing about when you own a room, you don't feel like the stage is ever being taken away from you.
Right.
And you could really kind of develop your act. You don't have to rush into your bit. You don't have, you could let them laugh. You could figure out different tags. You really could work at your pace.
Yeah, and you can really work the room in the sense of the demographic of the area. Who travels in and who travels out. You get to know what type of tourists come in that area. You learn the locals, you learn the vibe of the room, and then you start really owning that section, and you really relax, and then all that magic came out because you fucking murdered.
Thanks. Yeah, I think Broadway Comedy Club, out of all the clubs in the city, is a lot like that because even though it's Broadway Comedy Club, it's more of a touristy room. If you go down the Village and you're doing Greenwich, or you're doing the Pear, or the Tribeca Comedy Lounge, those seem to be more of a New York vibe.
Yeah, they're very New York Village artists,
But it's more locals. It's New York.
Yes.
You can make more local references, while I think when you work a room like Broadway or when Caroline's was around, although Caroline's, it was more of a headline type of a club, I think your approach had to be more universal.
Yeah, yes, 100%. Because Broadway, you couldn't do inside jokes or city jokes or local or neighborhood jokes. They just wouldn't fly because Broadway Comedy Club, out of all the clubs in New York City, is the most transient
That's right.
audience on the planet. And when you find locals in their audience, you would cling to them. Like, I remember one night at Broadway, Dina, I got there because I was closing, because what are the odds? And because so I get in there and Dina goes, oh my God, I was trying to call you. There's only 2 audience members, and I was going to tell you, don't waste your time. And I'm like, well, I'm here, let's go. And one of my friends was with me. I'm like, well, now we have 3, you know? So she goes, Wally Collins is on stage now doing like 20. Do you want to go? Do you want him to bring you up? And I said, hell yeah. I go, there's 2 people. She goes, the reason why we did it was because there are 2 people, this young couple from the Bronx. So they wanted to give them a good show, so that way the locals could get involved with the club and tell their friends how much fun they had, and maybe broaden it out to a more local audience as opposed to the Times Square tourists that the street team always nails. So Wally did 20, murdered them. I did 20 and murdered them. So they got like a killer 40 minutes of, you know, because the other commentators, so me and Wally were like, fuck this, let's rock.
I once learned a lesson from that. I'm at Greenwich and I'm hosting, and it's Labor Day weekend. No, it's Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
It's the start of the summer.
Right.
Okay, it's Memorial Day weekend. I'm hosting. There are maybe 4 to 6 people, no more than that,
right,
in the club, and it's like I'm disappointed. It sucks, you know. And so I go up and I bring like low energy with me.
Mm-hmm.
Dan St. Germain goes up. And absolutely, just like you, just ripping it, screaming, comes off sweating. You know, he's doing it, and it's like it didn't make a difference if there were 6 people or 60,000 people.
Yep.
Gave him the same effort.
Yep.
And from that moment on, I never ever mail in a set. If it's 2 people, me and Jameson did a show with 2 people.
Right.
We worked with the people. We watched each other's act. We tagged each other's jokes.
Yep.
You make it productive. Anytime you get on stage, it's a blessing.
It really is, because like when I first started, and that's one of the lessons I learned when I first started with Paul Mooney. When I first started stand-up, he told me, because he took me under his wing like a week into my stand-up career. We just bonded. And he's like, homie, I don't care if there's 1 or 1,000 people, do your show, homie. And I never forgot that. And those late nights at the Comedy Store in the 90s when it was dead, and the early 2000s, you'd be, you know, these people beaten up for 4 hours by the comics, and then you're closing the show in the Kinnison spot, and you're just like, fuck it, I got to give it my all, because I got to, you know, show that. What am I going to show them after 4 hours of jokes?
Also,
you know,
you never know who's listening.
Yeah.
You never know who's watching,
know.
and you never know what that person could bring to the table or bring to you.
Well, for me, I love nights like that, because that's for me when the magic happens. Because you know how I am. That's
you're very good for a 2-person audience.
Oh, I'm great.
You're good for that.
Because then I can experiment, because I'm like, there's 2 of them. It's a different vibe than 2,000. So fuck it. Let me just have fun with them. And that's where the nuggets.
Pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. So I'm like writing, throwing shit out there, trying shit, bouncing shit off. And that's where I do a lot of writing.
That's
and then take it into the, you know, into the main stages. But yeah, I love those shit nights. I thrive. Like, those are just so magical. And I remember one night, I wish you were there, because if you were there, it would have been a lot more fun. I forget who was hosting. It was some, you know, nobody. And it was
Was that Broadway?
Yes. and I was sitting there was 4 people in the audience, and I'm sure I've told this story on the show before. But there was 4 people in the audience from like Ohio. Like they were a family of repos. They had a repo company, you know, for repossessions and stuff, like a tow truck.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this, but they're sitting there, and everybody's just like, oh, I could have just phoned it in. There's more chairs. And they were so addressing the empty room that I was getting so angry in the back that I went up and I ripped them a new asshole. I fucking yelled at all of them. And then I gave those 4 people a show for 20 minutes. And I, you know, do what I do. And it was like, they were like, oh my God, thank you. I'm like, you spent $20 a pop to come in here.
Yeah, give them a show.
Give them a fucking show.
Don't punish those people.
Yeah, because you suck and you can't draw.
You know, exactly.
Sorry.
You know what I hate when it's a show like Broadway would have like a lot of comics,
right?
And then some guy would come and just give this fucking hack line, there's only another 27 more comics on after me. Ew. I hated that. It's like, why do you have to? You're not going to get a laugh. If they do, it's a courtesy laugh. There's nothing original about that. Don't say that.
Yeah, and they only throw that out because they're bombing.
That's right. And they have nothing.
Yeah, if they have
100%.
nothing to offer and they're bombing, they try to throw some hack line in to try to save their set. Because if they were killing, they wouldn't have even thought that.
If you have less than 10 people, no one's killing, no one's bombing.
Yeah.
Okay? You just go up there, you do what you got to do. Like Paul told you, do your show.
Yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm. That was good advice that you had early on.
Because when I said to those comics that night, I said, putting your name on the lineup didn't draw a crowd. So maybe you should look in the mirror and question yourself, you fucking assholes. I let them have it.
Do you know how many people hit me up? Yeah, I'm a headliner. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, this is what we do. We give them a base.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's a low base.
Yeah.
But I say, if you draw, I will give you like a high percentage of the ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a draw. Okay. Can you draw? I can draw. Okay. They don't do any promotion for the show. They'll put out a Facebook post, the Wednesday before the Saturday of the show, and guess what? They drew nobody.
Yeah.
And like, I don't understand. I do.
Yeah.
You could maybe be a closer on a feature show, but you are not a headliner. A headliner is a guy who is not the funniest guy in the room.
Nope.
It's someone who sells tickets.
Yeah.
That's what a headliner is.
Mm-hmm.
How many shows have I done where I've been with like a guy who is a soap opera guy or someone who has a huge internet following,
right?
And they'll do 35 minutes. I'll do a half hour. Okay, there's only the 5-minute difference, and laugh-wise, I'm probably doing better.
Yeah.
But the crowd is with them the whole time. Anything they say, they're on board with. After the show, they're online to take pictures with them, to buy their merch, because it's their name that sold tickets.
Yeah.
They gave me the opportunity to be on the show. If my name was on the show, no one's coming.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Unless you're in Staten Island.
Yeah. Hello. So no one's coming to my show unless you're on, 8th Avenue.
Yeah. 47th Street. Yeah.
47th. Anyway, so, it's just like, I love when these internet comics or these internet TikTok sensations and all that crap, and they sell tickets, or they say they can sell tickets, and then they headline, and then they ask you to feature, and you're like, what the fuck? They've been doing, they don't even have 6 minutes. All right, I'll feature.
Do it.
My thing is,
get paid. Why not?
There's a whole crew of people that have never heard of me and would probably never have known about me.
That's it.
So I use it as exposure. I don't care about the money. It's about exposure and getting their followers, getting them on my board. So I have no shame in my game. I don't give a shit who I open for, because as long as I get my nut off, I don't care what time I go on stage.
Well, it goes back to what we said at the beginning of this. Mm-hmm. Every time you're on stage, see, if you stay home, nothing's going to happen. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. Nothing's going to happen. But if you go out, you never know. Maybe something as little as you come up with a tag for a joke. Maybe you come up with a couple of new followers. But maybe someone sees you and they want to book you. Maybe someone. Yeah. I did a show at Greenwich, and there was. I mean, it was a decent show. Nothing. It was like regular night. I mean, it was maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10. Fine. Yeah. But afterwards, guy gives me his card and says, "I cast commercials." He goes, "I think I could use you."
Yeah.
Okay. I wind up giving him a call. He's legit. I wind up doing a couple of Empire flooring commercials, and I mean, but the thing is, if I stayed home that night,
you wouldn't have got that.
I wouldn't have gotten it.
Exactly.
This was like a Thursday night show at Greenwich when Dustin was booking it.
Yeah, and it's like I always tell people, no one's looking for you.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking for you. No one's gonna knock on your door and go, "You ready? You want to come out now and get famous?" No. It doesn't happen that way. And it's so funny how many people think it should, and it doesn't. But it's like, and I give it up to the kids that learned the algorithm or know how to do that shit and know how to go viral. I don't know how, because I'm a little long in the tooth, as they say.
Yeah, yes. I may be a little bit longer in the tooth.
But it's like, so I just put out stuff that makes me laugh, and and my clips and whatever. And I go in a club and murder, and then I'll just put a clip up and see what happens. If it doesn't, I'm happy. That's all I care about.
I think the old days of sitting at the counter. Remember, if you sat at the counter and all of a sudden a talent, hey, I'm going to make you a star. Those things don't exist.
No.
If you want something, you got to put yourself out there.
Yep.
1000%. Somebody may be looking, but they're looking because you put yourself out there.
Yeah, and they'll see you because you put yourself out there.
That's
If
right.
you don't put yourself out there, no one can see you. So and then you can't get mad and go, well, how come I didn't get that? They suck. I should have got that.
So you mentioned at the beginning of the show, I was in the movie The Irishman.
Yes.
The way I got that part was the only thing I did this cable TV show.
Okay.
Did you ever do? I think it was called the Staten Island Comedy Club. Nevin Cummings.
Yeah, I never did it, but I've seen it.
It's
Bichetti did it. Al Martin. Yeah.
Bichetti did. I mean, Colin Jost did it. Fred Allman.
Yeah.
Comics know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you ever get, you'll get it once you figure out. Once you watch an episode or two, right?
You have to watch it. It's so it's terrible, but it's so delicious at the same time.
Exactly. Okay. It's like 70s TV.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had nothing until 11 o'clock. I was hosting at Broadway, and I think it was a Tuesday or Thursday night. Okay. And they asked me, can I come in and be the comic that night and do a set? I was like, yes. No, I'm sorry. It was the Johnny P show. The Johnny P show, which is just like the Staten Island Comedy Show, by the way. Okay, so I say I'll do it. It was me, Gary Pistori, and Vito Picone from Vito Picone and the Elegance. They had a big hit called Little Star in the 50s. Okay, so I do
timely.
I do yes I do this set because I had nothing else to do. Like worst case scenario, I'm running a set and there's a live audience.
Yeah.
I tape it, and this is the end of January, and that's it. I don't even think about it ever again.
Right.
Okay. I am driving to Atlantic City in August.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going down there to do a show. And you know Gina Savage.
That's my best friend.
Okay. Gina Savage calls me and she goes, hey, Ellen Lewis has been looking for you. She's been calling all the comedy clubs. They're interested in you for this new Martin Scorcese film. Now, I think it's one of my asshole friends or a couple of them like putting her up to this. I don't know how they got Gina to do it, but Gina is gone along with this for some reason. Okay? And I'm like, all right. I was like, give me the information. I don't believe it. So I called Kevin Dombrowski, and Kevin was doing a lot of acting at the time. Right. He's also a comic, one of my good friends. Yeah. And I go, can you do me a favor? I go, I only got a chance to look. I'm driving. Can you tell me, is there a new Scorsese film and is there an Ellen Lewis? He calls me out 10 minutes later. He goes, dude, pull over, it's legit. I pull over, I leave a message, okay, because they're already gone for the day. Yeah. I go do the show in Atlantic City. I drive back the next day. Drive back that same night because just in case they call me, like in casting, and if anybody out there is an actor, if they call you early, they're interested. Oh yeah. Okay. My routine in the morning, I wake up, I have a cup of coffee, I have two, I watch Andy Griffin, and then I go out and do my workout. All right. I'm not even finished with my first cup of coffee. Right. And I get a call from her office. Nice. And they're like, hey, would you be interested in coming down and reading for a part in the new Scorsese film? Yeah.
No, this is horrible. I'm offended.
No. I would love to, but I'm doing the Grizzly Pear, and I'm gonna have to pass. Yeah, I was like, okay.
I'd love to, but I signed up for this open mic and already gave him my $5.
That's right, and Laughing Buddha does not return. Okay.
How dare they? Can we do it another day? I have Laughing.
Yeah, I have the Laughing Buddha. I'm working on this bit about being married. Like no one's ever done it before.
Like airplane food.
Yeah. How about, right?
Bitches be shopping.
Okay. So I say yes. They send the sides to my agency. They send it over to me. Okay. And now that whole weekend, this had to be on a Thursday because on On Friday, Saturday, I'm in Manhattan just doing spots in the city.
Right.
And I brought the sides with me, and whoever was in my path, like like how you're hanging out waiting.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And it's August, so some of us are hanging outside. I'm just reading the sides with them. I'm like, just go over this with me. Go over with this with me. And with comics, like if me and you were doing it, and I was doing it weird, or if I sucked, you would rip me apart.
Yeah.
So I go in on that Monday to do the audition, and I feel pretty good because I've done it with comics. It sounded pretty good. The comics aren't ripping me apart. I feel confident, and that's a big key to going in an audition.
Yes.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh hell yeah.
I do the audition. She puts a finger in my face and goes, "Excellent, excellent, excellent," just like that. So she goes, "Listen," she goes, "I have another role. It's less lines, but it's more screen time. Would you be interested?" And it's like, yeah, more screen time means more money because I'm on the set more.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll do it. She gives me the size. She says, take 20 minutes. Now, I don't have anyone to practice with.
Oh no.
And it's just me, right. So my audition is staring into the camera, blinking 100 miles an hour, and these long, dramatic pauses. And she goes, "Stop." She goes, "Stop." She goes, "Don't do it like that. Do it the way you just did it." And I did it. And to make a long story short, she goes, "It's up to Scorcese." About 3 months later, they hit me up and they're like, "Can you keep the month of December open?" I said, "Of course."
For you,
and within 45 minutes, you're getting the script, you're getting all this information, and a week later I'm on set, and I'm doing this for like almost a month,
It's fucking awesome.
on several different locations. And because of that, I wound up he put me in one of his friends' movies, and so I wound up getting cast in a couple of different other things. But it started because I did not stay home.
Yep.
And I just did that little.
And you did a silly thing that nobody would have thought was anything.
Correct.
Yes, and it's like, don't poo-poo stage time. And I tell people, all stage time is good stage time. Just some are way more glamorous than others. I use every shithole club I can get into. I use it as a workout. It's like even the clubs in the city, it's like going to the gym. Like people are like, they don't pay much. I don't care about the money. I'm out there working because I'm writing a new album and all this stuff. So I'm like, I got a second album to put out. I have work to do. I need to write this next hour and a half. So I got to get it polished. So I'm in there like boxing and working and lifting weights in the gym. So when I go on the road with Dice, like I did in August and September.
You don't get that opportunity unless you did all those free spots.
Yep.
So you can tighten up your act.
Yeah. And if I hadn't
100%.
done that and tightened it up, I wouldn't have been ready when Dice goes, "I need you next week. You ready?" And I said, "All right, bags packed now. Let's go." And I was gone for 3 weeks. So it was like easy.
Because I think whether it be in comedy or in any aspect of life, I think that there's always people you're going to aspire to be, that you're going to want that career.
Of course.
And then there's always going to be people, and you're not going to know about it, who are going to want to be you. They're going to look at you and go, "Holy shit, you were just like touring with Dice. You worked with Paul Mooney. You're at the store. I would do anything to do that." So I guess the moral of the story is you worry about yourself. It's hard to do and go through life with blinders on, but there's no advantage of looking what someone else is doing and being jealous of it. You can only control what you can control.
Testify.
Yeah. I don't know if we were supposed to do that, but we did anyway.
We did it anyway. No, but the thing is, it's like everybody's on their own path. Like people ask me, like, you've been in the game, like next month is my 29th anniversary.
29 years?
Yeah. And I only look 12.
Jesus, I'm only 27.
Hello.
Yeah.
But it's like, I go, I did things on my terms. Of course I didn't play the game properly, because I could have been a lot farther if I'd done certain things in the past that were offered. But I chose not to.
This was in LA.
Yes.
I remember the stories.
I've told you stories.
You came on my podcast.
Yes.
And, listen, I sometimes I'm smart and sometimes I'm not. And, I don't always know the plight of a female comic or somebody, who isn't me. And, you would tell us some stories and like, holy shit, that was my daughter. I'd probably go out there,
kill him.
Start breaking legs.
But that's just, but for me, I didn't think of it that way at the time. I didn't go, "Ew, you're disgusting, me too." I just went, "Okay, you're not getting no." But it's like it was just the casting couch is such a normal Hollywood thing growing up that you knew it was there.
I didn't think that was real.
No, it was so real.
Or really prevalent.
Yeah, no, and I didn't realize it was prevalent as heavy as it was in stand-up. I knew it was in acting. That I knew, but I thought stand-up? No one's trying to fuck a stand-up. Nobody's trying to beg down a stand-up comic. We're fucking jerk off. We're disgusting.
Well, there wasn't a line to bank Elaine Boozler? Like,
yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, who's topping her? She fucked everybody at the Comedy Store. No, she ran.
Ladman?
Yeah, no, but Elaine Boozler ran the Comedy Store. Those men were afraid of her.
Really?
Oh, that's my queen. I live for Elaine, darling. Yeah, Kinnison, all of them were scared of her because she didn't take their shit.
You had to be tough, I guess.
You had to, in those days, and even as a female comic, even though I started in '95, you had to be tough. And I just wanted that the male comics to look at me as one of them. That was all I asked for. The same respect them as I gave them, I wanted back to me, in the sense of I carried myself strong. I didn't carry myself with my tits, well, the non-existent ones I have, but you know, I didn't dress like a slut. I wasn't flirting with comics or bookers.
Were you always kind of tough?
Yeah, always, my whole life.
You're always kind of tough. You always were kind of like, you know.
Yeah, always sporty, always athletic. I've always been into that. Like, I remember the first time I met Jeff Ross, he called me and I brought him up on stage. This is like 20 something years ago. He's like, give it up for Sporty Spice, you know, like.
That's pretty original.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because he's the king of the originality. And
oh wow, Sporty Spice. How many times have you heard that?
A lot.
Yeah.
Today. That one. But it's like, you know, I was always, you know, the tough chick, you know. And Mooney used to call me Nasty Barbie, you know, and you know, it was fun because people like even like Dice used to call me military when I first met him in the first few years of my stand-up career, and he goes, I hate female comics except military, and I go, military? He goes, yeah, because you go up, you command the room, Tan Hut, and the audience, it's when you walk on stage, they're like, yes sir, no sir. You know, and they're in attention to anything you say.
Well, that's the thing about your act, though.
Yeah.
Whether you connect with them, the one thing you can't say, it's going to be boring.
Nope.
Yeah, you're not the kind of stand behind the wall, or you're not whiny. You are energy, and like some people are like, what the fuck? Or this bitch is way too dirty for me. But you're not looking at your phone.
Nope. I'm not going. So what else?
You're not going.
What else do I want to talk about?
That is the worst.
Oh, that's my pet peeve.
Yes. What else? What else?
Okay, top 10. I just thought of this. Top 10 list of the most annoying things comics say on stage. Number 10.
Okay. Let me end with this.
I know. I'll leave you with this. That's my number one.
That's a bad one.
Before I go.
Yeah. A little bit about me. Yeah. We don't know about you. Just make it broad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Now, how about everything about you? Could you do that in 8 minutes, you fucking cocksucker?
Yeah. That's another one.
And then so what else? Oh, I was doing this the other day. No, you weren't. No, you fucking weren't.
Well, that's the whole thing. In a comic's life, everything happened just the other day. Yeah. This is a little too specific. So, like in Staten Island, people will call it. You know, so here in Staten, Italy, and it never ever gets a laugh, and people are just like. And there was a comic who must have said that 3 times during their set. You know, hey, Staten, Italy. Yeah, they didn't laugh the first 2 times.
Yeah, kill yourself the 3rd time, could you?
Well, I think she did.
Oh, we'll be right back. I wish I had crickets timed into this.
way to bring down the podcast.
I know, really. And scene. Yeah, way to kill the room, Jeffrey. Top number 1 thing on my list today.
Do you know Vincent James?
Vincent James. Why does that sound familiar?
He's a comic. He runs Tribeca Comedy Lounge.
Oh, okay. I've never played there.
Great guy. Great guy. One of my good friends doing this, right?
Okay.
So he does this like homecoming show up somewhere up in upstate New York, I think it was.
All right.
And it was kind of a tough room. I went on. Two comics went on before me, so they kind of like loosened it up. So by the time I went up there, I had a good set.
Right.
I'm really rolling, and there's this woman sitting in the front, and she's like this the whole time, and I'm like, I start with it, and as I'm about to talk to her, she's like, I'm like, ma'am, I go, are you having a good time? I go, because it looks like you haven't taken a shit in 2 weeks, okay? And she's just like, and then she says, my husband died last month, and this is the first night I've been out since. And the first thing I think of is like, way to bring down the room, lady. I said that on stage. Like, way to bring down the room.
I would have said, now I see why he left a month ago over there. Because I'm the asshole. See, Jeffrey's nice. He's kind, he's loving, he's gentle. I'm the fucking asshole.
That's funny. He
See,
ain't ever coming back.
Yeah, I see why you left over there. See this? That's like when, Mark Riccadonna is one of my best friends. We do the road together a lot. So we do like the Naughty Nice show. And when our tagline is, come out for dad jokes and feel good stories from Mark, and I'm just a piece of shit. That's our billing.
Also, love Riccadonna. We've been texting the last couple of weeks, back and forth.
Yeah,
love this dude.
Yeah, he's the greatest. I miss having him on the pod. We used to do a podcast together in lockdown. So. And
did you do the show he had with Richie Byrne?
No, Richie? I haven't done this show. We've talked about it, but it's just been like.
It was called Drinks and Punchlines. So you have
drinks, jokes, and storytelling.
Yeah, something stupid like that.
Yeah, they're fucking dumb.
But the two of those guys, I mean.
Yeah, figs over there.
I love those guys.
We did a short film that Frank Vignola wrote.
Frank Vignola.
Yeah. Hope he's not listening to this. I hope he is.
Trust me, if he is, I will be getting a text or a phone call. Jeff, I did not appreciate that.
Go Mets.
He had a show during lockdown where me and Richie were on. He walked off his own show.
Yeah.
Because we got him so pissed off.
Oh yeah, it's fun to get Frank mad. It's hilarious. So Frank. I love Frank Vignola. He's such a Vignola.
He's a character. He's a good
you guys, and you know what? He's such a great writer, and his references are so obscure that you have to be like Ben Franklin to like get them, or a Harvard scholar. But they're pretty fucking dead on, and they're just really obscure. But I think he's a great writer. He's just a lot, and so we were doing shows and together and stuff, and to get him mad is when we did this show up in what's that little town it starts with the R next to Albany?
Rochester?
No, not Rochester. It's a small town like Rye something. It's a small little town. It's cute, and the mayor was at the show. It was packed. And me and Vignola were co-headlining. I go, do you want me to go first, or do you want to close it? You want to be the headline? He goes, no, I'm going first, because I went first one time and buried him. And he got mad at me and didn't talk to me for the 3-hour ride home.
Well, he's low energy though.
Yeah, but he's I've seen him crush.
So same.
So and he's really super funny. And so he's like, no, Miller, you're closing. I said, I'm doing 30 and you're doing 30. I'm like, all right, so. The host that he had hosting, I wouldn't have had host because she's a sweetheart, but not a strong host on a weekend show. And then there was a guest spot because he drove us. It was his first time back on stage in 5 years. And I was like, this was me, no laughs from either one, the host or him, right? Ooh. No laughs. And he gets off stage. I go, how'd it feel? He goes, that was a good set. I go, you think so? Because you know me, I have no poker face. You know how I am, Jeff. You've known me forever. And he goes, oh, I had a good set. They were good. I go, really? You think so?
There are comics in the city that, like, you're in the room. You just saw how it went. And the guys will come off and go, oh, that was great. That was great. Yeah, I killed. That was great. Okay, I'll tell you off air of one guy who's, like, real famous for that. I'll tell you halfway.
God damn it! You can say names on here.
No, I can't.
Can't throw him under the bus?
No.
What does his name rhyme with? See how I get him?
Okay, because I have no filter and I have no fucking spine.
Borrow mine.
I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
The last name was of an American president who didn't last very long.
Carter?
Oh, he lasted.
He's not. He's 100 now.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean lifespan didn't last?
No. Their presidency was very, very short.
Oh God, that Kennedy.
No, it was. Although his wasn't super long, he
Trump.
Nah, yeah, Trump back.
Ugh. Anyway.
I can't wait.
I'm sure you can't. Actually, I can't either. I'm just sitting back with popcorn, honey. I'm gonna enjoy this next 4 years watching it all burn. Okay, so who is this person?
I'll tell you off air.
Oh, God damn it.
I can't do it.
So Frank goes on. I'm like, okay, Frank's gonna wake him up because he's a great road comic. He's really funny and he's solid, and he's throwing references out. Like there's some older people like our age, and then there's a lot of young people up there. It's a college town. It's a small town, and the mayor was there of this town. It's right. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. They were so amazing too.
Not Ronkonkoma.
No, that's Long Island.
Right.
This is upstate by Albany. It's over the water. There's that bridge, and Amtrak stops there, and then they go there, and then it's over the bridge to Albany.
I mean,
like you could see Albany from over the water.
Jesus.
And it starts with an R, right? It's like I was pronouncing it wrong that night too, and I felt really bad because they were making fun of me.
No, but you always turn that into a bit. I do.
Oh, I did, yeah.
And I know that
so I just kept saying it wrong, and I would make fun of it, and I would change the words, and they were dying. So I'm thinking, okay, Frank's gonna save the show. Okay, Frank's gonna go up for a half hour. I'm gonna go out on the patio and just relax and go over my set list and make sure I have everything on that I want to do, and get my head in the game. And I'm not hearing anything, so I'm like, okay, well maybe the door's shut. So I go inside, and it's not hearing anything. But you could feel them wanting to laugh, and there was something to laugh at. They would laugh. And they were with him. They were with every comic. That was the funny part, is that they were there. They were like this. Like, yeah, you got one. Yay. Like they were rooting for us, right? And it's sold out. So I'm like, oh God, it's one of these audiences, right? And I'm like, okay, he's dying up there. And he does, like after 10 minutes in, he just starts dying and dying and dying for the next 20. And I'm like, oh God, this is terrible. This is terrible. I'm like, all right, you know what? Kiss it to God,
Why were they such a shitty audience?
Well, they weren't. And you could feel how they wanted to be in it, right? And they just, the comics just weren't connecting enough. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to kiss it to God. It's one of these hell nights on the road. Big deal, right? Just get my money and get out. That's what I'm thinking right now. So me, I walk up and just rip the asshole open right away. My first words out of my mouth is just going to be insane. So I grabbed the mic and I just ripped it, and the crowd just explodes. And for 33 minutes, they were screaming, laughing.
What, they just wanted dirty or they wanted energy?
I think they wanted all of it. I think they wanted the energy, and I think they wanted someone who just didn't give a shit. I think everybody was in their head worried about what, because the mayor was there.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
And the owners, they were Korean.
I'm surprised with Frank because with a newer comic or an inexperienced comic, that one that doesn't do the road, they'll just do their act and not read the room.
Right.
And I think when you do a lot of road stuff, you learn how to adapt, and learn
Frank
how to adapt.
Does a lot
fast.
of road gigs, and I was really and I think he's phenomenal. Like I think he's a really great performer, and I love his writing.
Are we really going with these adjectives? Phenomenal.
I'm trying to make him feel better. He's not listening.
No, and she has one sound effect.
Yeah. Well, I have others, but I forget what they are. So I don't know how to program it. So I'm 54. What do I know about technology? But so I rip it a half, and then the whole ride home, Frank puts his earbuds in and listens to sports radio on his laptop and won't talk to us. And I'm like, really? We're doing this, Frank? You're going to do this to me? And so he's all, if you want the account, you can have it. Because the owners loved me. It was a Korean family. It was a restaurant downstairs, and they had this event space upstairs that they were doing bands.
How many did fit?
It's like 75.
That's nice.
It's a small little venue.
That's cute.
The food was delicious, and the mayor could not have been kinder. he like took pictures with me. They loved me. And I was roping him into my bits and tagging him and then expanding it about him, and the crowd was going nuts, and it was just so much fun. It's like read the fucking room, but it was so much fun. And he's such a great writer, but it's like, yeah, I forget why we got on that subject. Oh, the movie. So anyway, so that was a long way to go. I'm a long-winded whore. Anyway, so Mark Riccadonna directs this movie that Frank writes called Double Eagle. So I get cast as the Big Bad Wolf because it's based on nursery, rhyme, right. All the fairy tales like the Big Bad Wolf and Little Red Riding Hood and the leprechauns and all this stuff are the characters, but it was written kind of like a Quentin Tarantino-esque type film.
I like that premise.
Yeah, it was a really cool premise. And
Frank directed it?
Mark Riccadonna
directed
it. Yeah.
He wrote it and directed it.
No, Frank wrote it.
Frank wrote it.
And hired Mark to direct it. So we shot it last summer in Jersey. And it was Richie Byrne played the leprechaun.
Perfect casting.
Yeah, and a girl that's in the theater that Mark's in here in the city. This girl Veronica played the Mad Hatter. She was, and I was the Big Bad Wolf, so I was kind of like her sidekick, pit bull monster, like protect, bodyguard, hitman. So she'd call the shots, and I would beat them up. So it was a lot of fun, and Riccadonna is a hell of a fucking director.
But if he only knew a guy who he was friends with, and you guys who was a professional actor who could have been in this and hung out with you guys, if he only knew somebody like that who's had some experience in doing movies, if he only knew someone like that.
I know. Yeah. He did, Richie Byrne.
No cricket sound effect?
No, I need to put that in there. I need a cricket sound. But yeah, it was so it was the two girls were the lead, and then Richie played the leprechaun.
Richie's
he's a really great actor.
He's a good actor. I think Mark's a good actor too.
Mark's a great actor. He's a phenomenal director. Like, he did a hell of a job on a really bizarre script, and it was a lot of fun. And Richie played the leprechaun perfect. And he was like a mob guy leprechaun with the Irish brogue, and
he's very good.
He was phenomenal. I thought he was my favorite part, and people were like, Christy, you fucking crushed that movie, because we did the screenings.
Did Frank play a role at all?
He just sat off to the side playing Angry Birds on his phone while Mark did all the work. Do I protest too much? Should I shut my mouth?
No, but I've never done a podcast or show where I've spoke this much about Frank.
I know. I don't think anybody's talked about Frank McNolan.
Can we talk about D.F. Sweedler next?
He's still teaching, by the way.
Yeah, of course he is.
The comic strip, 75 years later. Take a clash from me.
Thank you for being here. If you weren't here, we'd be only performing in front of the chairs.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's D.F. Sweedler or who's the Jeffrey Gurian.
Oh God! I remember one night at West Side Comedy Club, Jeffrey Gurian was hosting, and he brought me up, and I hadn't met him yet. This is, we're all in different circuits. There's thousands of comics and hundreds of circuits, and a million clicks. So I'm on the lineup, and Gurian brings me up. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Super interesting guy, man.
He's a fantastic, fascinating, to listen to his stories.
Get him on this show.
Yeah,
he
needs to tell, his stories are just unreal. And, but he brought me up because I didn't know him, and I brought him. I'm like, give it up for Van Halen. Did I fuck you in '78? You look familiar, and they were dying. I go, it's nice to see you still got your hair.
Van Halen's more like the drummer of REO.
I know.
Am I right?
It's like the mamas and the papas. Nothing? All right, never mind. Oh my God, I love you to death, and you have to come back on more.
It's over already?
I know.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so we always wrap up.
We just started.
I know. See, I told you it's a lot of fun because we talk shit. We just ramble on. I always end the show with the segment I call 2 questions, and question number.
Can I guess? Are there 2 questions involved here?
No, there's 2 questions involved.
Okay.
All right, but there's 2 questions if you're.
Okay.
And
Throw it
first
out.
question is there a bit a comic has written besides Frank Vignola that made you go, God damn, that's brilliant?
Yeah.
I wish I had written that. What was
First
it?
one comes to mind. I love everything Gary Goldman writes,
Uh-huh.
but the state abbreviations bit, phenomenal. The depth of it, the originality of it, his delivery, his little asides, the throwaway lines, which aren't throwaway lines. I think Gary Goldman is he would be maybe on my Mount Rushmore of comics,
Wow.
especially comic writing. I think he's brilliant.
Wow. That's awesome. I remember we used to do open mics together. And look where I am. Good night. All week,
He's
ladies and
doing
gentlemen.
We're
just
talking
gonna
shitty road gigs in towns in New York. We can't
remember.
or pronounce.
Rylander? No.
There's Rye.
No, it's not Rye. It's way up. It's
Okay.
Rinsling.
Rensselaer.
Rensselaer. Yes.
There we go.
We got it. Woo!
See, we knew we'd get it before the show.
I know. And the second question is, because we're comedians, we always like to, tell stupid jokes and make each other laugh in the green room or in the car rides or whatever. And also because I worked with Paul Mooney for all those years, and he would end his show with street jokes, but he would Mooney-ize them and just murder the crowd. And so I ask you, Jeffrey Paul, what is your go-to street joke?
Well, my go-to joke on something like that is like the joke I used to tell my son when he was little.
Uh-huh.
And the joke is, why did the baker stop making donuts?
Why?
Because he was tired of the whole business. And that was it. And he always thought that was funny. Like that.
That's so cute. I love it. Anyway, I love you to pieces.
Thank you.
And
Same.
thanks for
Same.
being here on Old School, New School Comedy. Tell
Pleasure.
everybody out there, tell my schoolers where they can find you on the social media and anything coming up.
Social media on Instagram, Jeffrey Paul Comic. On Facebook, Jeffrey Paul Comic, I think it is my webpage. You can hear me if this goes out to New Jersey. I'm on 101.5 FM every Wednesday night from 9 to 11. We talk all type of topics, current events, and then we do some trivia and give away all type of cool prizes. I have a podcast with Sean Morton, another great comic.
Yep.
Called Who's Your Band?
It's a great podcast. I did it.
Yes, you did. We have the Laughing Stock Comedy Club, and also check me out for wherever I'm performing.
Tell them where the Laughing Stock Comedy Club is, my love.
Laughing Stock Comedy Club is in Granville, Pennsylvania, which is about 10 minutes outside of Hershey, Pennsylvania. We are inside a Holiday Inn. The whole place is being renovated, so the next time you come back, you won't recognize it. We're in a different room right now because of the renovations, but they do say they have some big plans for us, so we'll see.
Well, that night that I was there, because it was in the middle of renovations, and the owner guy was there in the audience, and I was talking to him after the show, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna build them their own comedy club in the."
Yeah,
he better.
Let's see.
Well, if he doesn't, I'm going down there and
But we have, one of the things that we've been doing is we've been doing a lot of off-site shows.
Okay.
Like this past weekend, I was up in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Rich was in Virginia, and we had Steve run the show in Granville.
Okay.
Next weekend, I am in Allentown. Rich is in Maryland, and we have Sean who's going to run the club for us.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so this is something that we're kind of like moving in direction. Is like we're doing a lot of fundraisers. We're doing a lot of like organizations, comedy nights, and it's what we're able to do. We're able to provide more opportunities for comedians.
Yep.
And so we absolutely have to get you on these shows.
Well, I'm there. I got my driver's license, so I'll just rent a car.
You'd be perfect, because sometimes, have you ever done like some of these firehouses?
Oh, I love those.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite gigs. I'm dating a firefighter.
I did not.
A lieutenant.
Bring them.
Yeah, I should. Honey, get off the pole and get in this. Anyway.
How would I know that? I missed that episode of CNN.
Yeah.
But
mine's CUNT. Good night.
No, but you're the perfect act for it. Yeah. We'll 100%.
I love working with him and Rich. And look at Laughing Stock Comedy Club in Granville, Pennsylvania. Follow Jeffrey Paul Comic everywhere. And remember, follow us here too at Old School New School Comedy on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And you can follow me as well at Christy Miller Comedy on all the socials. And please like us, share the episodes, leave comments, tell us your favorite dad jokes. And last but not least, don't forget to share the episode. We love you. See you.